A great three-row family SUV needs the space, features, and the comfort to accommodate your family. And this Mazda CX-9 might fit the bill. And we know three-row SUVs.
Edmunds drives, tests, and rates hundreds of cars each year. As trusted experts, we've teamed up with CarMax to help you make the best car buying decision.
The CX-9 is Mazda's biggest SUV. It's a step up from the RAV4 size CX-5. Now this is a three-row SUV that can seat up to 7 passengers. You can get this in all-wheel drive, but there is no hybrid option here. Think of the CX-9 as Mazda's response to a Toyota Highlander or a Honda Pilot. We're focusing on the second generation CX-9, specifically 2020 to 2023 models, because these got slightly better tech and more standard driver assist. But most of what we have to say will be true for earlier CX-9s as well. On average, the Mazda is significantly less expensive than the Honda Pilot and the Toyota Highlander, but a little more than a Kia Sorento. That means you can either save a lot of money on a lower trim level or get a much nicer trim level with more features for the same amount of cash as a mid-level Honda or Toyota. And for an SUV like this one, you want the peace of mind of knowing that it has good reliability and good crash test scores, right? We have great news for the Mazda. We use RepairPal, an independent reliability tracker, and the CX-9 gets a great score. 4 out of 5 stars is above average for a three-row SUV. And that's the same as the Toyota Highlander and half a point higher than the Honda Pilot. Now, the data does say that you'll spend around $50 more per year on maintenance and repairs compared to if you're driving a Toyota Highlander. But hey, this is still a win for the CX-9.
And crash ratings, they're great. 5 stars from NHTSA is as good as it gets, and the IIHS gave it a top safety pick or a top safety pick plus. Pro tip: if you want standard driver assist like automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, and blind spot monitoring, try to get a 2020 model or later. And if you drive a lot at night, spring for the CX-9 Grand Touring or Signature for enhanced LED headlights that will give you better visibility on dark roads.
So far, it's all been positive, but you're gonna be living with this car every single day. So is it any good? Now, we've been in a lot of three-row SUVs, and this interior is one of the best. The materials and the design really feels like a step above the competition. We have knobs for all of your regularly used features, and it doesn't solely rely on the touchscreen like some other modern cars. And the texture that it has on these knobs really feels like something you'd find in a more expensive car. We've driven plenty of entry-level luxury cars that look and feel worse than what we have in here. And that's even more apparent if you're going for a higher end trim of the CX-9. Now that's something we took note of when the car was new, and it's even more impressive now considering what you can get a used one for today.
Also, even the car we have here that's a few years old feels like it has really high build quality. Fewer squeaks and rattles than you get in some other three-row SUVs, and that is really impressive.
One thing we really like in here that you might not notice on a short test drive, the layout is great. All of the controls are easy to reach and they're laid out logically. Everything is exactly where you'd expect it to be. But what about that zoom? The CX-9 feels a lot more powerful than some of its competition, and you can definitely feel it from behind the wheel. That get up and go feeling that you get when you go from a stop to go get in your lane, merging onto short on-ramps, and passing on the highway, yeah, the Mazda's got it. Now, even if you got a car full of people and stuff, you'll have no problem. And that's all thanks to the standard, powerful, turbocharged engine.
And the rest of the driving experience is really nice too. It's super quiet in here. The levels of wind noise and tire noise are lower than a lot of other three-row SUVs. When one of my coworkers on the Edmunds team showed me their notes from the original review, they had written, "One can achieve Zen pretty easily in here." Makes sense to me. We like the steering too. It feels accurate and direct in a way that makes the CX-9 feel smaller than what it is. You'll feel confident if you ever have to steer out of the way of something in an emergency. And the ride's really comfortable too. The suspension absorbs bumps well. It adds to that feeling of luxury, like you just treated yourself.
Even if you don't prioritize how a car drives, you'll definitely appreciate how good it feels to get behind the wheel of a CX-9. But even with all the good things that the Mazda offers, the price, reliability, crash test scores, interior, and drive, there are a few downsides that you should know about before you go out and buy. There is no way around it. The CX-9 is just a lot smaller than its rivals, at least if you actually want to use the third row.
First of all, to get back here, this lever is on the top of the seat, which might be a little tricky for a kid, and the lever just folds the seat back. You still gotta push it forward. And it's kinda tricky to get back here unless you're really small, and guys, let me tell you, it is not great to sit back here.
This window is so small, I feel claustrophobic. If the people in the second row want any leg room, that means that my legs are gonna be right up against the seat, and the floor height is so high, and the seat cushion is so low that my knees are way up here. If there's no one back there, the second row is pretty good. You can slide the seat back, you can recline if you want to, no complaints there. Plus, you can fit 2 car seats too. It's a similar story in the back. With all the seats up, this trunk is tiny. Like, probably not even enough room for a week's worth of groceries for a family. But when the third row is down, there's a bunch of space back here. So the CX-9 technically has enough seats for up to 7 people, but if you want to use that third row, everybody's going to be cramped, and they're not going to have as much cargo room as they would in some other 3-row SUVs that we've tested. This second thing is more subjective, but it might drive you crazy. That screen, not a touchscreen, or mostly not a touchscreen. Let me show you what I mean.
Now, the screen itself, pretty good. It sits high on the dash, which we like, and that means that you don't have to take your eyes too far off the road. Now, this bigger screen became standard after the 2021 model year, and the CX-9s have had Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on most trim levels since 2019, and the base car got it in 2020.
But here's the thing, when you're driving, the touch inputs don't work. They're disabled. I mean, we can't think of any other car company that does this. Now, there's a solution. Remember this dial I was telling you about in between the seats? Now, this is actually how you control the screen while you're driving. And you know, some drivers won't mind, and for others, it'll be really easy to get used to. But just make sure that you take out some time when you go to the dealership to test out some features like changing the radio station or the audio settings, just to see if it'll be something that'll bother you. Reliability, driving, crash tests, and interior quality are all great. But if you really need room for 7, or you just love a touchscreen, this might not be the best buy. But what do you think? Do you think the Mazda CX-9 will fit your lifestyle? Or is there something out there that might be better? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.